Football, we're teaching them how to control, harness, and control and utilize their aggression in a positive manner. We're teaching them to take your anger, put it on the football field, and tackle somebody, hit somebody in the proper way of playing the game. Use that aggression on the football field. And yes, I'm going to use the line from the Water Boy. Visualize an attack. Visualize an attack. But then these same adult volunteers, these same adults who are supposedly teaching this aspect, don't get in a fight. Don't get, if you mad, you mad. That's fine. Get them on the next play. In other words, get that block next time. Run them over when you're running the ball. Stiff arm them. Do something. But do it in the context of the game. Utilizing good sportsmanship. But yet, at the end of the football game, what happens? Because one person wants to beat their chest and talk about how great of a coach they are and how their team just wiped up your team. We create this sense of, oh, well, what's the words that they like to use? No, ain't no one disrespecting me. Ain't no one disrespecting me. So we just decide to throw away everything that we just taught our team of players. Lose complete, total control of your own emotions, exactly what you're trying to teach these kids not to do. Throw it all away and act an absolute fool and get into a fight on a football field in front of all those youth. It boggles my mind that this even happens. And I start hearing that, well, they hurt my kid. Okay, so your kid got ran over. It's football. Why else did you put him in the sport? If you didn't want him to get run over, then put him in baseball and make sure he plays in the outfield. That way, the only person that's going to run into him is going to be his own player going for the baseball. If you put your kid in the sport of football, your kid's going to get hit. Your kid's going to get hit. And see, some of this stuff gets started because, again, it happens time and time again. It's the adults. It's not the kids. It's the adults. They start jawing back and forth. You see a couple of coaches on one sideline, and they start going. You see another set of coaches on the other side. They start going. Now they got to jaw back and forth at each other. But yet, as soon as one of those kids, as soon as one of those players starts jawing, we correct them. Hey, don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. Get over there. Get over there at the bench. We don't do that on the football field. You don't do that. But yet you as adult coaches will do the same exact thing. And one of the things that I do not subscribe to, and I've heard it before, I hear it every single time. Do as I say and not as I do. Boy, if this wasn't a youth program, I would say something straight up on that. I can say this: bull crap. I'm calling bull crap. Because if you cannot allow a child to do an action, then you shouldn't do it. Because one of the things that I believe in, one of the statements that I've always made as a manager, as a director, as a leader, lead by example. Lead by example. If you don't want your kid acting like a thug, if you don't want your players, you don't want your team, you don't want your organization acting like they just straight out the street thugs, then you can't do the same thing. You have got to show them the proper way to act. You have got to show them the proper way to win. You have got to show them the proper way to lose. And if you can't do it, get off the football field. Do not be a youth coach volunteer, because if you can't control yourself, how do we expect you to control those kids? I mean, it's just downright ridiculous, folks. Come on. It's youth sports. This is what's ruining youth sports. I love doing youth football. I absolutely love going to these games, calling these games. If you ever listen to me, whether it be on NYSR during a special event, during a tournament, whatever, or you listen to me on Typher Radio, and I'm doing football all through the fall season, if you ever listen to me call those games, you can hear the excitement that I have each and every single game. If there is a great play, what do? I get excited. I am excited for either team. It doesn't matter if it's the team that had me out there, if it's the visiting team. I don't care. If a player makes a great play, you're going to hear me get excited. And I tell you what, there is not a single time you're going to hear me on a broadcast, during a game day broadcast, that I'm sitting here talking about how great this coach is. Because the last time I checked, adults, let's put it out there. Adults, this is to you. This isn't the kids. This is all on you. Be the adult mentors you are meant to be as a volunteer on that football field. Because last time I checked, there was not a youth football coach in the world that has been up for a job for a D1 college or an NFL position. I do not know of a single youth football coach that's ever gotten a phone call from an NFL team or a Division I college team that's requested them to send their resume so they could possibly consider them for a coaching position. Get out your damn feelings. Take your ego, stick it in the freezer so it can cool off, and do what you originally stepped on that football field to do. That was not to be proclaimed as the greatest youth football coach to ever coach a football game, but the fantastic adult who is mentoring young men and women to be the best that they can be and to be better than what some people expect them to be. That's the part that I think some of these youth coaches lose sight of. They get wrapped up in winning so much and being awarded a trophy and being called the greatest ever. If you were the greatest youth football coach ever, you'd be standing by somebody like Nick Saban. You'd be standing by some of the great coaches that have ever walked this earth. Tom Landry, Vince Lombardi. I don't see your name on the side of a trophy. Get out your feelings. If you lose a football game, you lose a football game. Show those kids what it means to lose. Show them what it means to lose. You pick up your head, you walk down that 50-yard line, you shake hands, you tell the other team, hey, great game. That's the part that I think has been lost in youth sports. And again, I'm picking on football because that's the main thing that I do. I'll do any other sport. Um, you call me up, you want me to do baseball games? I'll do baseball games. I'll do basketball games. I'll do soccer games. Doesn't matter to me. But I'm picking on football because that's where we're at. But that seems to be where the largest incidents of this occurring. I'll even take it back to the incident a few weeks ago. I did the San Antonio Outlaws and the Texas Farm League Hurricanes in the Texas Select League. A fantastic football. If you listen to the broadcast, and it's still up on the website, it's still in the archive. You can go listen to it. This was a great football game. Great football game. These players on the field throughout the entire game were making big hits, and then they were picking each other up and patting each other on the helmets. This had nothing to do with the kids. Nothing. But because of one person's act and the inability of the adults to be just that, adults, we ended up with a fisticuff melee in the middle of the football field. And someone just posted on the Facebook page. Fights at the games too between people on the same team. I've heard about that too, and I'm sorry. If I am an organizational president and I got two of my coaches that are fighting on the sidelines, I'm sorry, you're gone. You're done. I prefer to coach that team myself than to have that kind of visibility for my kids. If I am Texas Select, and I said this the week after this incident happened between the Outlaws and the Hurricanes, I'm sorry, if I am Texas Select, if I am on the board, if I'm the president, if I'm the one who decides who stays and who doesn't, I'm looking at whoever threw a punch. I don't care, regardless of what the reason was. Anybody who threw a punch is no longer in my league. You are no longer welcome. You are no longer welcome. In my opinion, all the coaches that were involved on that field on both sides should no longer be coaching in youth football. I don't care how great you think you are. If you could not control yourself, be the cooler head, break things up, say, hey, let's not do this. Because what did we show those kids? What did those kids see? The very thing that we tell them not to do. 979-353-4421. That's the number to call. 979-353-4421. Del Allen said that's a little harsh. Really? So it's a little harsh. You say a year suspension. We're talking about adult volunteers who are there to mentor these kids. They are there to show them what they should do, right from wrong. They are there to teach them the game, how to act in a game, how to be a true sportsman, showing true sportsmanship. But yet you can't control your own emotions. I don't think it's harsh at all. Especially in that situation. You got an all-out melee in the middle of this football field. Everybody's throwing punches. No one's controlling anything. Kids from the Hurricanes got involved in the fight. And I guess it's a good thing that I'm not one of the board members on Texas Select, because I'm sorry, you swing, you're gone, you're done, because I don't want that kind of example for my kids.